To Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh, glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. It's going to be a great show as usual. I promise, or your money back. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. Streaming, you can click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can take us with you and listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device if you download the Radio Player Canada app from cklu.ca. If you're at cklu.ca, might as well check out the merch that we got there. Purchasing the merch will give us a chance to keep the lights on and the radio waves open, so that way we can continue the great work that CKLU has been doing since 1984, been around as your campus and community radio station since then. And ever since then, the airwaves have been open, lights have been on, and we've been able to keep everything going on a shoestring budget. It's mostly volunteer run, and your donation will go to making sure that the station will be able to continue to operate, guaranteed. So we're also live on facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. And that will help us to get the word out. This conversation that we have each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 a.m. and have other people be able to have the opportunity to come on and share their views and feel part of the conversation. It's an opportunity to share your views on the news, and it's a very unique show. I don't know any other show like unto it. And you're able to comment. We'll do our best to get your comments read. For those listening, up on the screen for those watching, and we discuss the latest issues surrounding local stories that are covered by our local news organizations, CBC, CTV, Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, which can all be found on our news aggregator, our answer to the government legislation that makes it impossible for news organizations to even have a Facebook page, let alone share news in this country, whether it's Canadian news or it's international news. On the most widely used social media platform, we cannot share news. You can't even put news on it. If you go to CTV's Facebook page, just look what it looks like. I mean, most communist countries have Facebook pages and have news on their Facebook pages. Although it could be definitely it's monitored and censored to some degree, we can't even share it here. So that's definitely not a good policy, I would think, if you're in a democratic country, and one that I will fight with everything that I have to reinstate, to make sure that we can have news shared. That's the way that we know what's going on in our country, right? And you need that for an open society. You need free speech as well. Free speech, anything that goes against free speech, to me, if you lose free speech, you lose one of the fundamental rights that allow us to be a free country. The very thing that my two grandfathers fought for, although fought in a war across the ocean, but what they felt they were fighting for was the freedom of this country. You know, that's what they were there for. That's what they were told they were fighting for. And so let's keep, in my mind, keep my grandfather's memories alive and make it so that way generations past us can live in an open and free country. Although many signs point to the fact that there's a good chance that we won't very shortly, right? With the erosion of some of our fundamental ideals that and laws and in our culture that keep this a free country. So we need to continue to do all we can to, if the word is fight, well, fight, do make an effort, do what you can, where you can, and that's all you can do is all you can do, right? Okay, so with that, we're gonna have a great show. There's already quite a few people on, and they're commenting already. We've got to dive right in. We have some local stories we're going to be covering today from all of our news outlets. So we're looking forward to the show today and this Monday, kicking off this week of November 18th. I can't believe how fast the time is going. We're almost at December. This is time is just a flying. Anyways, speaking of time flying, the show is flying. So let's dive right in with a little bit of weather. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently it's 4 degrees out there, but it's mostly cloudy. Mix of sun and cloud is expected for the rest of the day and continuing to be so with the high of +4. Tonight, cloudy. It'll be partly cloudy this evening, and the low will be -2. With the wind chill, it'll feel like -5 overnight. And then Saturday, mainly cloudy as well. And the high will be 6. And I'll look at the long range, cloudy and 6 for Tuesday. Wednesday, 60% chance of rain, high of 5. Same thing for Thursday. And 30% chance of rain on Friday with a high of 3. Same thing for Saturday, but a high of 1 with a chance of flurries on November the 23rd, Saturday. And then for Sunday, -2 and cloudy. So quite a few clouds. Let's see what it looks like on the satellite radar. This is taking as of 5:30 a.m. Yeah, a lot of clouds, but you would think we would getting a lot of clearing that's coming from the west there. Not a single cloud over Michigan and to the west of us. So not sure why we have all these clouds in our forecast. According to the satellite, it looks like we should be getting a lot of clearing coming up even today, really, by the looks of this satellite. But it is what it is. There's a forecast that was made by professionals, and they made it, and I read it, and that's the way it is. And that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, we're back. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. And speaking of that, we have on Facebook, Judy. Good morning, Judy. Thanks for being with us. And Monique as well. Smiley emoji. Good morning, Sudbury. Marianne says, good Monday morning. Everyone from Barrie, liked and shared as usual. And David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. Thanks for being with us, David. Same to you. And Belinda, good morning to you. And just because you don't require much doesn't mean that you deserve the bare minimum. Know your worth. 100% with a heart emoji as well on top of that. Yesterday I was with a group of friends, and one of the group of friends is from the United States, from Utah, and she started a foundation called You Matter, and they were filling out cards. The whole idea of this foundation is to get the word out that everybody matters, right? Everybody does. So In order to do this, they use a simple method, and that's to have people fill out heartfelt written cards, a message from you to a perfect stranger about a reason why you feel they matter. And it's handwritten, and it's every message is different on every card. So there's a little effort put into it. And so the person writing the card gets an opportunity to really think, okay, why would I feel a perfect stranger would matter? And they write that message in the card. And they attach the card to a really nice, paper bag, size of the card kind of thing. So the card is put on the front of the bag, and in the bag is just a few small items, maybe some lip balm and a couple just small little things just to go along with the card, a small gift. And then they'll keep it in their car, they'll drive around, and they'll just see somebody, and they'll be prompted, hey, this person needs this card and gift. And they'll walk up to this perfect stranger and say, you know what? You matter, and this is for you. And you can have a little conversation if you want or not. Just say, you know what? Have a good day. Walk away. And so they've been doing this around Sudbury now for the last little while, and telling us about the really great experiences they've been having with these perfect strangers. And many people brought to tears over this simple gesture. Didn't cost very much, not that much of an effort, but the impact it's made on individuals is huge. Because they're like these perfect strangers coming up to me and giving me this heartfelt card that we rarely get even from people we know these days, right? Like a heartfelt card that really kind of, somebody's pouring out some emotions in a card to you. We don't get it all that often. And here's a perfect stranger doing that. So what a wonderful thing to do. And that's all because Belinda we're usually tapped into the same, the ether to some degree. And this is just an experience I had yesterday, and coming on the show, I wasn't even going to talk about it, but because you said, know your worth, don't sell yourself short. And we need to be reminded of that as human beings. And not just particular segments of the population. And I know there's been political movements where just certain people matter, and then other people who come out and say, no, everyone matters, they get kind of stomped on by saying that. But really, give your head a shake. Really, at the end of the day, isn't it that everybody matters? Every single person born on this earth matters. And I would even go as far as to say, preborn people matter too, which I thought, that's a very controversial thing to talk about these days. But a preborn person, what's the difference between a preborn person 5 minutes before they're born? Are they all that different? 5 minutes before they're born, and then they're born after? Are they now a human being because they're just on another side of the human body that birthed them? The worth of a soul is great, right? And I just really wanted to give a shout out to this You Matter foundation that was started by a now friend of mine, and I really appreciate what she's the simple gesture that makes a big difference in people's lives that she was able to start by just something tangible. You could say words, you could say, you know what, you matter, and walk away, and someone will go, hey, that's cool, But here, this card with a message in it, with a couple little items in the bag, just made a huge difference to quite a few people. Anyways, I hope that helps somebody today, that you matter, and it is true. No matter what you might even think of yourself sometimes, you do matter. And Liette, good morning from Collingwood. Speaking of someone who matters, peace sign. And thanks for being on, Liette. And Stephanie, good morning to you. Good morning, Sudbury. LOL. Thanks for being on. And thanks for joining us. And Denise, blessings, everyone. Thanks for being on as well. Biden is pushing Ukraine into Russia. This is not going to be a good winter for Canada. Yeah, headlines that the United States are now commissioning that they could use U.S. Missiles to launch into Russia, which, I mean, can't end up good if you ask me. This is the reason why the United States is because North Korea sent troops to help Russia. So Joe Biden in his last 2 months of presidency is okaying the use of U.S. missiles, so which could just ramp up the war to times 10, because now the U.S.'s arsenal is arguably the largest and, the highest of technical, whatever in the world. Like they have the strongest military, arguably, in the world, and now they're going to be using their missiles to launch into Russia. What could go wrong? So Miles says, hi and good morning to you as well, Miles. I found out that the oldest professional sports team in North America won another championship yesterday. I guess it's surprising news since they were heavy underdogs. You're speaking of the Toronto Argonauts winning the Grey Cup over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Poor guys. There were so many really cool stories of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers that I've been watching over the last week, and I was like, you know what? I kind of hope they win. But anyways, Toronto Argonauts, congratulations to you guys for winning the Grey Cup. I just came in last night for work and just turned the TV on for a second, saw they won and turned it off, and that was enough for me. On the way over, CBC was talking about the game. Denise, anything with Putin spoke about biolabs and nuclear plants. Again, he keeps giving you a heads up like he did in Ukraine to get out of the way. Okay, thanks for that, Denise. And if anyone has their finger on the pulse of what's going on in Ukraine, yes, it could be ramping up pretty darn soon. Marianne, it's coming to bite them in the behind, because the access to the internet, people got educated with information at their fingertips, and this is why there's censorship. It's woken up many, and this was talking about, the idea that our government has made policies that now end up that we cannot have news on Facebook or Instagram. And Facebook being the largest social media platform in the world, with the most people using it, and that's where a lot of people were getting their news and sharing their news with others on, and now cannot be done. So we have a website in Sudbury called Sudbury.news where you can go and at least see all the local news on one page, making it as easy, not as easy as it was on Facebook, but it's the next best thing. But we got to get that back. We got to get the ability to share news on Facebook back. Trudeau, a narcissist that rewrites history to escape accountability. That's Belinda. And Denise says, I can't do this too much. Fluoride in the water. They've lost their will to fight. The fact you mentioned the fluoride in the water was interesting because, Donald Trump is picking his cabinet or whatever. Not his cabinet, but it would be the similar verbiage in Canada, a cabinet. But he's picking his team. And the person he picked to be over health was Robert Kennedy Jr., right? He's going to be looking at the health of the United States. And one of the things that he said, the first things he said he was going to do was go on a campaign to take fluoride out of the water down there. And if you go on a website called rumble.com, because other websites are a little too censored and may not have it, but just look up fluoride documentary on Rumble and do a little research of why he might be on a campaign to take fluoride out of the water. That's all you got to do. And Mikey, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you as well. Thanks for being on. Nancy, good morning to you. Good morning. And letting people know you matter is important for your mental health. Yeah, not only your mental health, just your being as your spirit, your emotional self, your intellectual self, everything, like you said, mental health, because we do matter. And thanks for that, Nancy, and thanks for being on. Mikey says that's how it should be for sure. And Monique, grand rising free thinkers are those who are willing to use their minds without prejudice and without fearing to understand things that clash with their own customs, privileges, or beliefs. This state of mind is not common, but it is essential for right thinking. This is Leo Tolstoy, the Russian author, basically said that about free thinkers. So thanks for that, Monique. And I know that is true. And then Nick is on. Hey, love this. Oh, yeah, just speaking of the You Matter this morning. And look, you're right on here. And Mike Perrott, good morning. I hope you're doing well this day. And Belinda, in the end, nothing we do in this lifetime will matter as much as the way we have loved one another. Well said. And I have to agree. Denise, the story goes that North Korea will hit the White House. Everything they said until now has happened. This is not looking good. Okay. Well, we know that there will be things definitely ramping up in the world. They're very much wanting. There's many people, many factions that will gain a lot by a war, and so they're pushing to move us into war, world war, and hopefully we can cooler heads will prevail and we'll be able to avoid that. But everything kind of looks like it's ramping up to that. Marianne, if Russia is going to push the button, I wish they would and just stop the cat and mouse game. We all know the truth. They won't. Interesting. Calling their bluff. And Mikey says TikTok seems to be taking over. Free speech is still there. Yeah, interesting. Chinese-owned app, right? We have a Chinese-owned app where you're allowed to say things and share news, but we're not allowed to share news on our own, North American app, Facebook, in Canada. Yeah, what a world we live in. This Canadian, perspective is very interesting with our democracy, as they say, right? And Miles says, hey, the government is always right, don't you know? ? All of this is misinformation according to them. Yeah, misinformation that we can't share news on Facebook anymore. Exactly. Right? They against us. I guess so. And that is Monique. And Marianne says, nothing is safe. Water, food, skies. Well, it just seems that there's factions of society that, I don't know, can gain by people either being in a sick state, So if you gain by people being sick, then you're going to do whatever it takes to get people to be sick. And let's say you were a company that made medicines for people, right? It's like if you were a virus software company, you may want to create a virus that people then have to use your software to protect your computer, right? So if I had a medicine company making medicines for people, yeah, do your own kind of conclusion on that one. Liette says, I was once told my life didn't matter until all Black lives mattered. My crime was stating that all lives matter in regards to the BLM rally held in our community. The irony was this person had no idea of my own identity. Collingwood is a very historical community, which not far from this rally, which bussed in participants, has an underground railway museum that helped many people escape slavery. People really need to educate themselves and need to learn their history for sure. And that's what I was referring to, and it's fine. Black Lives Matter, of course. Every child matters, of course. It's true. And we all matter. We just all do. And when you just think about that without any political leanings or whatever, or advocacy or whatever leanings you might have, if you're someone who wants to get behind a cause, everyone's lives matter, and that's pretty much it. I said it from the beginning. I'll keep saying it today. Denise says, like a drug, fluoride exposure has also been linked to increased excitement in the hippocampus, impaired memory, anxiety-like behavior, and depression-like behavior in adult mice. This may be due to the passage of fluoride through the blood-brain barrier caused maladaptive changes to the hippocampus. Yeah, when we start getting into terms, medical terms and things, I'd have to kind of pause to, not words you say every day, but thanks for that. And that's a possible whatever the fluoride would do to us. And there are studies. I know there's not one study that actually shows fluoride's good for your teeth. And I know that sounds pretty bizarre, because there's not one study that actually correlates to your teeth, which is what we're told it actually does. And if you do take your toothpaste that has fluoride in it, most do, look at the tube and look at the warning on it. And it says if you swallow it, which is weird, right? Swallowing toothpaste. What kid doesn't swallow their toothpaste? And there's a warning that says if swallowed, you have to seek immediate medical attention. So that's interesting that's on your toothpaste of all things, right? So read your toothpaste and come to your own conclusion. Lurleen, good morning to you. I'm excited to see the changes in the states regarding health with Robert F. Kennedy. He's going to be awesome. You would think so, for sure. I'm looking forward to that myself, seeing some of the changes. It sounds like anything that I've been able to look into over the last 20 or so years to do with health, it seems like he's on the same page, meaning just do your own research and you can find the information. And it'd be really neat to see if he's actually going to do something about it. And good morning to you too, David. Thanks for being on. Long time no see. And Marianne, don't do TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of the young generation, right? TikTok. And Andrew, good morning to you. Thanks for being on, Andrew. Belinda says fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. I've heard that as well. The pineal gland is the eye of God, or the third eye, as they call it as well, right? It's like an intuitive eye. And anyways, if you want to do research on any of the things you've heard on this show, if you're watching it, if you're listening to it, and these are things you've only heard for the first time, you can just go on the internet and research that yourself, And if you don't feel you can trust the internet, then you have to ask yourself, well, why are you on the internet for other things anyways if you don't trust it? You might as well find out real information while you're on there. Okay, so Lurleen also, exactly, censorship is real. You got that right, 100%. It's a day of daddy daycare listening in the background. That's great, David. Yeah. A lot of people do that. They'll just put us on and, go about their housework or their morning routine and listen in the background. And I'm grateful that I could be a part of the morning in that way and have a conversation. Thanks for checking in. Marianne, remember it's the States, not Canada. Not one, and I mean not one in our government are all levels don't give two craps about any Canadians. Okay. So you don't feel our own government cares about their own people. And you might be on to something there. Not everyone took the you know what. They have put it in everything: food, water, air. Yeah, and I think you're right on that one as well. And Marianne agrees. And yeah, there's a lot of research that people do to find these types of things out, and you can do yours if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to do anything you want in this world. You are the boss of you. You can continue to live in the world of just knowing a certain amount and not knowing more than that, and that's fine too. But if you do want to know, information is out there. And good morning, Brian. Thanks for being on. Good morning, Sudbury Patriots, exclamation point. And Lucy, good morning, everyone. Smiley emoji. Thanks for being on. And that was kind of a joke, the Tyson fight, right? I thought, that was over, what, was that on Friday? And it was on Netflix, and it was, it was exactly what you would think it would be. How old's Tyson now? 58 years old? Yeah, it was a media spectacle, and it was a money grab, and apparently mission accomplished, because there was hundreds of millions of dollars made from that particular event. And yes, other people feeling that the government is not taking care of people. That's Lucy, for sure. And Dan, good morning, Dan. Good morning. Always remember, health is wealth. Have to detox from internal, external poisons, and toxins are in breath. Consume, put on, skin, all the technology we use. Have the best day, everyone. Best day ever, everyone. Yeah, you know what I heard a while back, and I do believe it's true. If everyone puts things on their skins, like lotions and you name it. You're putting things on your skin, makeup, whatever. And I heard someone say, if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin, right? If you can't eat something, don't put it on your skin. The reason being is your skin is the largest organ on your body. It absorbs just like you're eating something. It's going into your bloodstream. It's going into your body. And there's chemicals and things. And shampoo is a terrible, it's full of terrible things that you put in your hair, and your hair absorbs it. I remember just recently being in university, and they were talking about making organs, from other organs. What they would do is they would put this chemical on, let's say, someone's heart, and it would just devour all the flesh off the heart and just leave the cartilage or whatever was left. And then doctors could go in and put whatever substance they make artificial organs out of into the skeleton of the heart. And then it would be a perfect replica of a heart, of that person's heart. But they said it's a chemical that's commonly found in shampoos that dissolve the flesh off of the, out of the organ, the heart. And I was like, a chemical commonly found in shampoo that's doing that? Well, what's it doing to our brain, as it absorbs into our head? So I was like, wow, we have all this increased, dementia and things in our society these days and whatever. So yeah, we have some nasty things in our everyday common products that we use. Just do your own research. Just look into it if you care. If you care about your health. Not everyone does, right? You might not care about your own health. Not everybody does. So again, we got to, we have so many comments here, and I appreciate that. Continue them. We got to check in to see what is going on here in Sudbury, and something that's affecting each and every one of us, or will, over the Christmas holidays, is the strike is continuing, the postal strike. I don't see that getting resolved anytime soon. And this coming from the Sudbury Star, Canada Post workers in Greater Sudbury join national strike. So Canada Post workers hit the picket lines Friday after contract negotiations with their employer failed to conclude by the strike deadline. And Ottawa is signaling it's not ready to intervene. A lot of people say, yeah, well, why doesn't Ottawa just do something, or they'll have back to work legislation or whatever. But our current government that's in our NDP Liberal coalition, right? They want to be seen as standing with unions because that's where they, their base of people are, and historically they're with unions. And so they say, no, let this play out. This is, we need to go with the bargaining process of why unions were invented in the first place. And yeah, regardless of what the impact it's going to have on everyone, everywhere in this country, right? So the Canadian Union of Postal Workers said approximately 55,000 workers, including more than 300 in Sudbury, are striking, claiming little progress has been made in the bargaining process. That's right. They didn't agree. You can tell they weren't going to agree off the hop, and they weren't going to agree going into it. And you can, I almost felt that they were looking forward to striking, and that's all they were going to do. And it looks like this fluoride discussion has really sparked a lot of people here to comment. And Jeffrey, thanks for being on, and thanks for commenting, and thanks for sharing that information about everything that's going on. I encourage everyone to read what you said here. You have a bunch of awesome information there, so thank you very much. Continue to share, continue to join us and be on and share as much as you possibly can. And good morning, Pat. Thanks for being on as well. So just so everyone knows, I do my best to read the comments, but at a particular point in time, we kind of shift because we have to kind of get to the news stories, Sudbury News Talk in the morning. And it's not that I'm not sharing somebody's comments or sharing others or censoring anybody. What I'll do is once we kind of move on and we're looking at the stories, I'll put the comments up on the screen so people can see them. And the show is found on demand on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, now X, and Sudbury.news afterwards. So people going back can see the comments up on the screen. Now, comments that are more than 2.5 lines, the software that I use kind of cuts it off. And Facebook, a lot of times, will take certain people's comments out and they won't be found afterwards. So just giving everyone a heads up when you're commenting, if you are able to get them to that 2.5 line sweet spot, then your comments will be on the show forever and ever as long as it's on demand in video format. So it's really great to educate people on things that that you've done research on, or whatever topic we're talking about. And that's the idea of that, right? So I appreciate all those that are coming on for the first time. Welcome, if you're listening or watching. And so, yeah, we're just talking about the strike, the Canada Post strike. And the negotiations were very difficult. This is coming from the Labor Minister, Steve McKinnon. He told reporters in Montreal. Adding little progress has been made, McKinnon said he's working to facilitate the conclusion of a collective agreement, but each day brings a new series of issues that complicate efforts toward finding a resolution. The strike comes ahead. The strike comes ahead of the busy holiday season. Obviously, that's why they did it then, and on the heels of a labor dispute at the Canada ports, right? similar, right? It's like the distribution system, the supply chain. Well, there's letters are a part of that, and parcels are a part of the supply chain getting to people. There are other avenues. There's, interestingly enough, Purolator, which is you can use, or FedEx, UPS, or if you order from Amazon, they in Sudbury have Dragonfly, who deliver for them, right? So, as you know, the COPS conference just wrapped up, and the sorry, I'm just looking at the next story here. The COPS conference just wrapped up, and everybody's talking about the climate and stuff, right? We talk about the climate quite a bit on this show. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, this is also coming from the Sudbury Star. Concerned for the climate, climate activists gathered in Sudbury near Bell Park to push for a healthier planet as the world leaders come together. Other stakeholders continue to meet with COP 29. Someone said the other day, this is where, a lot of these people will get in their private jets and fly down there and use a lot of their country's tax dollars and whatever, and order the best food and stay in the most expensive hotels, and then fly back in their private jets and then lecture everyone about their impact on the climate and their carbon footprint, right? Which is bizarre. I mean, I don't know how people stand for that. It's very hypocritical. And yeah. So anyways, so they're meeting, and it was the 15th year for the Sudbury Vigil, which first took place in the Bridge of Nations during the 2009 climate conference in Copenhagen. While some progress has been made since the historic moment, it has not been enough, said the Citizens Climate Lobby, Greater Sudbury, in a release. The latest warnings from climate scientists, some climate scientists, I'm going to add that one in myself, because not all climate scientists are saying this, so I have to add that in, which is even better reporting than the reporter had done, right? Because that's the truth. That's what they said so I guess it's not this isn't a bad on the reporter's side, because they're just saying what they said in their press release. But anyways, the latest warnings from climate scientists, the mental health crisis among youth, and the soaring financial toll of climate impacts make it clear that we're failing our children. Now, I think one of the things we're failing our children on are the fact that we're telling them that their lives aren't going to be very long, because the climate is going to, make the earth inhabitable, and they won't have a future. I think that's going to impact their health quite a bit. And if you look throughout history, in the 60s, 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they all had an element of this, catastrophic thing that's going to happen in the future, whether it was Leonard Nimoy telling everyone we're going to go into a global ice age in the 70s, whether it was acid rain in the 80s, whether it was global warming in the 90s, and now climate change, because we can see that it's not just the warming, it's change. It's a lot easier to have a catastrophic event that you can just it's an ice age. It didn't happen, right? And then the polar caps were supposed to melt 20 years ago, but they keep saying they're going to melt again and again. And we don't know how natural the earth is warming up, or if it's caused by humans. And if it is caused by humans, well, how much is it being caused by humans? And so that's why not all scientists agree, and scientists rarely all agree on anything, and they're not supposed to, because they're scientists who question everything. And so, yeah. But anyways, in Sudbury, they held a vigil, which is right. A vigil. What do you hold vigils for? Something that's already happened where, somebody's passed away or somebody's missing or there's no hope for something, right? Why don't we start talking about hope? That's why I like this idea of the you matter that we were talking about earlier. That gives people hope. That gives people a sense of worth, that they know they're worth something. And that helps with mental health, right? Because you're worth something. And it's not all fear mongering and telling people that their lives are going to come to an end in a short period of time, which the show is going to come to an end in about 5 minutes or so. So let's continue on. Sudbury news here. School buses are canceling some of the routes this morning. It might be a little late now, the news. But this is coming from Sudbury.com. There is school bus vandalism that canceled 8 routes. 8 school bus routes are canceled today due to school bus vandalism over the weekend, according to the Student Services Consortium. It includes both morning and afternoon routes. We apologize for the inconvenience and appreciate your understanding as we work to resolve the situation, the consortium said in a social media post this morning. The following bus routes are affected: G101, G107, G111, G113, G801, and G833, G834, and G839. All of those are affected. They won't have any routes today, this morning, or this afternoon. So if that affects you or your little ones, you've either heard it first here or you've already gotten that news. This is interesting, a robotic coop. So I know there's some people here who do homesteading on the show and they have chickens. So here's a group in Temiskaming. They have a robotic chicken coop. And it's on the move, it says in the headline. Temiskaming farmers deploy Northern Ontario's first fully automatic pasture barn. Also coming from Sudbury.com. And thanks for being on, Caitlin, and thanks for sharing that about Pure Later. Yeah, I thought it was owned by Canada Post as well. And I was wondering why they wouldn't have been on strike if they indeed were owned by Canada Post. So I was going to say that, but I thought maybe that was old news and they got bought out by someone else since that. But no, looks like that's exactly who owns most of Pure Later. This robotic coop keeps chickens on the move. Temiskaming farmers deploy the Northern Ontario's first fully automatic pasture barn. The chickens on Manners Farm were happier, healthier, and tastier after a trial run of Northern Ontario's first fully automated pasture barn this past summer. Farming couple Zach and Chelsea Manners are the first in the north to follow the burgeoning trend toward farming automation on their 160-acre poultry farm in the heart of Temiskaming Shores agriculture district. But they likely will not be the last. It's 100% changed our routine, said Zach. I don't have to get up quite so early to do chores. It doesn't get to the point of burnout, so it lets you enjoy farming. Before buying their Rova barn, manufactured by the Manitoba-based company, Uco Robotics, Zach had been tied down to the daily grind of feeding the birds several times a day in controlled feed program to prevent the negative health effects that result from overfeeding. With the old system, Zach said, I was weighing feed every day, driving out to the pasture with a tractor and filling the waters. After seeing and tentatively pricing the Rova barn online, the Manners thought they would have to put off buying one until they managed to save enough money, but the couple were able to acquire the technology much sooner as a result of receiving a grant. through the Sustainable New Agri-Food Products and Productivity Program, or SNAP program, administered by the Rural Agri-Innovation Network, or RAIN. Gotta love the acronyms. A division of the Sault Ste. Marie Innovation Center, RAIN strives to enhance farming and food sector business growth by developing initiatives through innovative research and agriculture development projects. So SNAP provides individual applicants like the Manners Farms with up to $10,000 at 50% cost share towards the purchase of equipment or technology that will allow for enhanced productivity and efficiency throughout innovation. And they said, had we not got the grant, we'd have to wait another year or maybe 2. It was a big help. So there you go. Automated farming, even on smaller scales in Northern Ontario. So if that's something that, could benefit yourself and you do similar farming, yeah, there's all kinds of really cool automated farming apparatuses here that will help us in our day-to-day farming activities. So there you go. The future's bright for farming. And that's all the time we got for today. Thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you being on. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the social media platforms that we have. And tune in again tomorrow. And until then, remember to stay aware, like and share. Take care. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM, and we'll have a great rest of your Monday, and we'll see you same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.